Our guest is Senator John Kennedy of Massachusetts, who yesterday announced his entrance into the race for the Democratic presidential nomination. He said under no circumstances will he accept the nomination for vice president. Senator Kennedy is the front runner in most of the public opinion polls. As a member of the Senate Labor Committee, he is certain to play a leading part in drafting legislation to deal with the steel dispute if it is not settled.
Senator Richard Nixon, who more or less has built his reputation as a vice president and as a stand-in at times for the president with a great deal of responsibility, is known pretty widely as a rough, tough gut fighter, as a campaigner. What makes you think you can beat him?
Well, I have no doubt that I can beat Mr. Nixon.
For what reasons?
I have run for election on 5 occasions, and I've been successful. And I just have confidence that I can beat Mr. Nixon. I don't think the test is, well, a rough, tough gut fighter is who we're going to pick for President of the United States, I hope.
What kind of a campaign would you run against him?
I would run a campaign which attempted to show what I think the responsibilities of the United States are in the 1960s, why I think the Democratic Party, and if I were the nominee as the Democratic nominee's candidate, why I think that I could do a better job than Mr. Nixon could do. I think Mr. Nixon is a formidable candidate. I think who's ever nominated will have a difficult fight with him. I personally happen to believe that I can defeat Mr. Nixon, but I think it will be a very, but I don't think it's going to be who's the toughest gut fighter.
Mr. Wilson.
Senator, I'd like to ask just one question on this vice presidency and then move to something else. Is it not a fact that the circumstances this year may be somewhat different than they have been previously with respect to the vice president? I refer to the common statement made among politicians that you, as a Roman Catholic, might suffer some difficulty as a candidate for president, as Alfred E. Smith did, but that as vice president, you would add a great deal to the ticket. Now, isn't that a different set of circumstances than previously existed, and what is your reaction to it?
Well, Mr. Wilson, I would be extremely sorry if they said we won't take Kennedy because he's a Catholic, but we want him because he's a Catholic for vice president. If we make the determination, both of those determinations on the grounds of my religion, regardless of any other factors, I would think that the Democratic Party would not deserve to be successful, because you would be giving an office to a candidate who potentially could be the president in either case, and whose only claim under those conditions would be that he happened to go to church on Sunday to the Catholic Church. I must say I would consider that at a most crucial time in the life of this country to be a disastrous way of picking a ticket. And one of the ways that I hope to make it clear that I will not participate is by making it extremely clear that I'm not going to run for vice president. If the Democratic Party feels that I could be a successful candidate and a useful president, I hope they'll pick me. If they don't, I'll work for the party, but I would not engage in the kind of operation which might be suggested in the question of attempting to attract Catholics to a ticket because I happen to be on it as vice president. I must say any Catholic who voted for me on those grounds would be extremely unwise, and I would not run.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.